My name is Katie. Welcome to my new Booktube channel. I'm calling it Life Between Words, and I'm so glad that you found me. I'm excited to be here, and I'm excited to talk to you about books. I decided to introduce myself. I would do the Booktube Newbie Tag, and because I'm new, and this is my first video ever, no one tagged me, so I'm just gonna do it without being tagged. So let's just get started. So the first question is, why did you start this channel? I've been watching Booktube for probably about a year now, and I've loved it so much, and I've gotten so much out of the discussions that happen and the books that I've heard talked about. I've really enjoyed discovering new Booktube channels and meeting new people, and I decided that I really wanted to become a part of the community because there's only so much that you can do when you're not also making videos yourself. And I decided that this was a way that I wanted to participate in the conversation and get to know people a little deeper and really make some friendships and talk about books. Another reason that I started this channel is that I have a blog, also called Life Between Words, and I have not been very consistent posting on my blog, and I want to continue with the blog, but when I discovered Booktube, it sort of froze me in my blog because I wanted to be part of Booktube, and I wasn't sure how I could do both things, and I still am not really sure. But I decided that I can't just sit around and wait to figure it out. Why not just start Booktube and continue with my blog and see over time how I can marry those two things? The second question is, what are some fun and unique things that you can bring to Booktube? Like a lot of people on Booktube, I read pretty widely. I read middle grade, young adult, adult, and within those categories, almost any genre. I'm not sure there's much that I don't read, and so I don't feel like that's too unique. But one unique thing that I do think that I would like to incorporate into my channel is I'd really like to talk about the importance of reading and reading to your kids. I know that Booktube and YouTube in general tends to be a younger audience, but I know that there's a few moms and maybe dads out there who are watching or who are participating, and I'd really like to talk about how to bring our kids up as readers. I'm a mom of a 2-year-old boy. His name is Fox, and I'd love to bring him into some of my videos, or at least talk about him and talk about what we're reading together, and talk about why reading is so important, and why raising readers is so important, and why reading to our kids is so important. I'm very passionate about it. So that's one unique thing that I'd like to bring, but just as well as talking about the books that I'm reading and loving, and so yeah. The third question is, what are you most excited for about this channel? There's a lot that I'm excited for. I think maybe the thing I'm most excited for is just getting to know people and making friends, and I always love talking about books to other bookish people, and while I do have some friendships in my life that I get to do that, I can always use more friends to talk about books to, or to talk about books with, although sometimes I do talk to people about books when maybe they don't even want me to, but that's why I wanted to make this channel, partly is because I know that if I'm talking to other people who love books, I won't be talking to them, I'll be talking with them. The fourth question is, why do you love reading? There are so many reasons why I love to read. So about a year ago, or maybe 6 months ago, I watched a TED Talk about why we should be reading more. And one of the things that she mentioned was that after 4th grade, your vocabulary develops almost exclusively through reading, and that's just because the written word is so much more rich when it comes to language than the spoken word. And so that's one reason why I love to read. I love language. I love to learn new words. I also love to read because it takes me to places that I might never get to go in real life. I hope that I get to go to a lot of places in my life, but I don't know where life is going to take me, and right now it's not possible. I have a 2-year-old at home, and it's just not easy for us to travel. It's just not something that we can do. So books are able to transport me to places that I'll never get to visit, probably, in my life. Maybe I will. Hopefully I will, but I don't know. And if they're fictional places, of course I'll never get to go there in real life. So I love to read about I love to read about places that are straight out of the imagination of an author. Too, I love the way that reading makes me feel, and it's the way I de-stress. It's my way to relax is reading. I of course binge on Netflix and other stuff like that, but reading is my number one way to relax. It's what I do. We all have something, right, that we do to relax, and reading is mine. Question number 5 is, what book or book series got you into reading? I can't say that I remember exactly what book got me into reading. I never remember a time in my life when I wasn't reading, but there are some books when I was a kid that really stick out to me as books that I've carried with me. Or maybe a better way of putting that is given something to me that I carry around with me. So I'm just going to mention a few of those. There are others, but these are just some. So the first book is The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. My mom read this to me. I also read it in school, and every time I've read it, I love it. I love C.S. Lewis, and I think he's so wise, and I love these books so much, The Chronicles of Narnia. I actually don't think The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe is my favorite, but it's the first that I read, and so that's why I'm bringing it up. Another book that really has meant something to me since I read it was Matilda. This is the first book that I remember reading in one sitting, and then picking it up the next day and reading it again in one sitting. I read it so many times as a kid. I loved Matilda, and this was also read out loud to me. I remember being on a road trip with my parents and my brothers, and my mom was reading it out loud and laughing hysterically because it's really funny. It's dark. It's darkly funny, but it's funny. And I identified with Matilda because she was also a bookworm and I was a bookworm. The next book I didn't read until I was a little bit older. I don't remember this book being read out loud to me. I don't think it was. But I loved it so much. And a group of my friends loved it together. So this was a real communal book for my friends. And that's Anne of Green Gables. I love Anne of Green Gables. This is probably my heart book. I love the whole series, and Anne is one of my favorite literary characters. I think Ellen Montgomery writes beautifully, and I treasure this book, and I treasure this story, and I treasure these characters. They feel like real people to me in a real community. So those are just a few books that have left a real lasting impression on me, and that, while I don't think they pushed me to reading, they're definitely books that kept me reading, that solidified my love of reading. Number 6 is, what question would you ask your favorite booktuber? Maybe I'd ask them what their heart book is. Anne of Green Gables is my heart book. What is your heart book? Question 7 is, what do you think your hardest challenges will be? And I'm assuming that's challenges in your new channel. Like I have already mentioned, I'm a mom, and I'm a mom of a 2-year-old, and he's very busy and doesn't give me a lot of free time. And I think that'll be my biggest challenge, is finding time to film and edit and read. Those 3 things, not 4, 3, those 3 things take up a lot of time. I've got a lot of goals, and we're just going to have to see how they all come together. But I think that really will be my biggest challenge, like figuring out how I'm going to do it all. I don't know. Question number 8 is, when did you start reading? And I've pretty much already answered this, but I don't remember a time when I wasn't reading. That doesn't mean that I started reading really early. I was taught how to read in 1st grade. I know they do it in kindergarten now, but when I was a kid, it was 1st grade. So that's when I learned to read, but I was being read to well before 1st grade. Both my parents read to me when I was a baby, pretty much. So I've grown up reading. So yeah, there's not much more to it than that. Question number 9 is, where do you like to read? I like to read pretty much anywhere. If it's the summertime, I love to read outside in the sunshine. If it's the wintertime, I like to read under a blanket. If it's Christmas time, under a blanket with a cup of hot cocoa by the Christmas tree. That's like the ultimate reading experience for me. But I'll read anywhere. I always have a book with me. And question 10, the last question, is, what do you like to read? I like to read pretty much anything, like I've already said. So yeah, I'll read, I read everything, and I'm always looking for new books to read. So that's it. Thank you guys for watching and finding me, and comment, like, subscribe down below. I'm really excited to be part of this community, so thank you so much, and I'm really excited to see where this goes. I'll talk to you later. Bye.